Chapter 095, A Stunning Breakout. Jialan, who do you think will win between the two? Up in the stands, a true disciple asked Jialan. This true disciple wore a purple Dao robe embroidered with 9 dragons. All 9 were 5-clawed true dragons, each of a different color: black, yellow, green, red. Wearing this 9-dragon embroidered Dao robe, he exuded an inherent imperial noble aura, starkly different from the ethereal grace common to immortal Dao cultivators. Yet the robe and his temperament complemented each other perfectly. Lingxiao, what do you think? Jialan smiled softly, answering with a question of her own. This true disciple in the 9-dragon robe, with his imposing imperial aura, was none other than Dong Lingxiao, one of the 5 top true disciples of Yuhua Gate who stood alongside Jialan and ruled over Lingxiao Peak. He was famed far and wide, his magical powers boundless. His attire and bearing gave off a distinct aura of purple qi rising from the east, a regal solemnity. The 4 great true disciples, Dong Lingxiao, Nan Wanluo, Shi Jialan, Bei Yaoguang, held far higher status than ordinary grand elders, second only to super experts like Elder Qianxing. They were the true backbone of the sect, and addressed each other by their given names directly, without formal titles of senior or junior. Yet all 4 of them addressed Hua Tiandu as senior brother. This was because Hua Tiandu's cultivation was a full tier higher than theirs. He had truly outclassed all other disciples, his Panwu great strength divine art was immeasurably profound, and he carried great hope of breaking through to the longevity secret realm. Among disciples of both the immortal and demon Dao, Hua Tiandu was a giant-level figure, his reputation even overshadowing that of demon marshal Kuang Tianqing. Yi Nantian has been cultivated by Wanluo. He carries powerful treasure artifacts, possibly more than one. This Fang Han does have some skill, but he is far too arrogant and reckless. He even dared claim he will defeat Hua Tiandu in 10 years. None of us would dare say such a thing. He is simply ignorant and fearless. Most likely he will fall hard this time. Lingxiao spoke slowly and steadily. Claiming to defeat Hua Tiandu in 10 years is indeed overly boastful. But there is always something unusual about Fang Han. For my part, I do not favor Yi Nantian. Jialan smiled gently. Oh? I heard you once gave Fang Han a set of 3 crystal ice jade swords. Do you think that alone can defeat a treasure artifact? I happen to know that Wanluo even gave his treasure artifact Luo Shengate to Yi Nantian. Lingxiao flicked a finger as he spoke. Luo Shengate? Jialan was slightly stunned. Wanluo actually gave even this treasure artifact to Yi Nantian. It seems he is dead set on letting Yi Nantian take Long Xian's first place on the mountain and river list. Long Xian has held first place on the mountain and river list for several consecutive terms, and has taken more than half of all the sect's rewards over the years. This year, the 6 grand prizes are Yinyang Longevity Pill and the Puryang Magical Artifact Golden Light Blazing Mirror. Even true disciples covet those. Lingxiao smiled half-teasingly. Since you favor Fang Han, Jialan, why don't we make a bet? I bet Yi Nantian wins, and I'll stake the Heavenly Wood Divine Needle as my wager. As he spoke, he pulled out a 3-inch long wooden needle, colored deep vibrant green. The Heavenly Wood Divine Needle. This is a treasure condensed from Eastern Green with true qi over 10,000 years. You've refined it 9 times over for years, yet you still dare stake it against me? You must have set your sights on something I own, haven't you? Jialan's face turned cold. Correct. I have my eye on that bracelet of yours, the Galaxy Bracelet. On Jialan's right wrist hung a bracelet that looked like a shrunken galaxy, dazzling and brilliant. It was obviously a top-tier treasure. For true disciples like them, none of their possessions were merely spirit tools. They were all treasure artifacts without exception, since they could refine spirit tools on their own. So what do you say, Jialan? Do you dare take this bet? Lingxiao laughed when he saw Jialan's grave expression. Fine. I, Jialan, have never lost to anyone. Jialan flicked her wrist, slid the galaxy bracelet off her arm, placed it on the table, and grinned slightly. But why would a man like you want this bracelet? Wouldn't it be awkward to wear? Haha, I'm giving it as a gift to someone else. Xianxia placed the Heavenly with Divine Needle next to the Galaxy bracelet. If you want to give a gift, why not go get the Sun Moon 5-star bracelet from Xianxia Gate? That bracelet is a pure yang magical artifact close to being a Dao artifact. Though I doubt you have the ability to get it. Jialan then turned her cold gaze toward the arena below. By this time, nearly 99% of all disciples had fixed their full attention on the match between Fang Han and Yi Nantian on Arena 1. This was a clash of titans. Yi Nantian was third on the mountain and river list, bore treasure artifacts, and would not fear even a master of the mystic ability realm. And Fang Han was the disciple who had dared defy Hua Tiandu Da. Fang Han, why haven't you stepped up here yet? Are you scared? The moment Yi Nantian heard his name called, he stood up. A small stone gate appeared in his hand, primitive and ancient in design, looking like the gate of a palace built by ancient gods. It was carved with rare beasts and intricate patterns, and when he shook it slightly, a wave of ancient, desolate aura washed over everyone. He twisted his wrist casually, a stream of air burst out from the stone gate and wrapped around him, then he vanished entirely, reappearing on the arena as if by teleportation. What kind of magical artifact is that? How incredible! That's Luoxing Gate. I heard senior brother Wan Luo once used it to kill countless heavenly demons and great heavenly demon kings. Luoxing Gate has incredible powers. It can teleport, capture spirit tools, and bind enemies. Looks like Yi Nantian is really going for first place this time. None of us stand a chance anymore. The faces of the disciples ranked 8th and 9th on the mountain and river list turned extremely ugly. Senior Sister Long's face has changed too. Down below the arena, in an excellent vantage point, the yellow-cloaked Senior Sister Long's face indeed changed slightly as she watched Yi Nantian and Fang Han. But she quickly calmed her mind, sat cross-legged, showing the extraordinary poise fitting of the long-reigning first place on the mountain and river list. Even the many elders on the platform, Jialan and Xianxia included, nodded secretly in approval. Long Xian also had a treasure artifact hidden deep, never revealed. She already knew that Fang Han was doomed to lose, and that she herself would soon face a brutal battle. When it came to treasure artifacts and spirit tools, as long as the gap in grade was not insurmountable, their effectiveness depended on the user's wit. Only those with stronger spirit and more skillful usage could claim victory. Looks like that slave Fang Han is going to have a really bad time this time. Fang Qingwei sat in a middle section of the stands, surrounded by a crowd of disciples fawning over her. Her bearing was sharp and bright, treasure light flickering from her body. Clearly she had also gained great benefits recently. Another treasure artifact? Yi Nantian hid his strength so well. Not even those 4 spies managed to find out about it. As Fang Han walked up the arena step by step, he saw the Luoxing Gate and tightened his fingers into a fist. He did not even call out to Yin, because Yin had used the great Nirvana Dharma to hide himself at this moment, and would not answer no matter how he called. Fang Han could not even sense the Yellow Spring map either. Not bad, you actually have the courage to step onto this arena. Yi Nantian watched Fang Han walk up and sneered coldly. But this is just reckless bravery, you are out of your depth. As he spoke, he tossed the Luoxing Gate in his hand lightly upward. The tiny stone gate immediately swelled to the height of 2 men, towering behind him. 8 desolate divine sword. He opened his mouth and spat out a tiny sword less than an inch long. Though it was only an inch long, delicate and small, not looking like a weapon, even less like something that could harm anyone, the moment it flew out, a sharp cutting aura filled the entire arena. Brilliant crystalline light shot out like lightning, no one could bear to look directly at it. Every disciple present felt wave after wave of sword chi rolling toward them like a tide. They could almost feel the sword chi cutting into their skin, as if they would be hacked into 1,000 pieces. The power of this tiny sword was far more terrifying than any spirit tool. Yet no one in the crowd was surprised. Everyone knew this sword was Yi Nantian's personal weapon, the greatest reliance that earned him 3rd place on the mountain and river list, the 8 desolate divine sword, a treasure artifact grade flying sword. With this single sword, no spirit tool could stand against it. It was not a sect reward, but a lucky find he obtained during an exploration adventure years ago. That said, this flying sword was only a low-grade treasure artifact, not as powerful as the 7 Calamity Gourd. If one used the 7 Calamity Gourd to activate the 7 Killing Sword formation, it could break this sword. Even so, it was still an extremely rare treasure. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A series of metallic clangs rang out. The delicate 8 Desolate Divine Sword, which already had a spirit of its own, flicked and suddenly transformed into a large transparent steel ball, wrapping tightly around Xianxia, forming an impenetrable fortress that could break any obstacle. Spirit tool-grade flying swords cannot change shape, they can only charge straight at enemies. But treasure artifact-grade flying swords can transform freely, turn into a large steel ball to carry its user through sea and sky, protecting them completely. They can even split into hundreds of sword lights to strike down multiple enemies at once. Fang Han, don't say I bullied you. I'll give you 3 free strikes. Xianxia laughed loudly, full of arrogance and complacency. At this point, he was already firmly in an unbeatable position, even an absolute winning position. The gap in strength was just too great. With just the 8 Desolate Divine Sword alone, he could break any defense. No ordinary flying sword could block it. And he also had the borrowed Luoxing Gate. 2 treasure artifacts working together, no one could even imagine how powerful that was. Luoxing Gate was actually a more profound treasure artifact than the 7 Calamity Gourd. This is simply unfair bullying. Several elders shook their heads. Jialan, looks like your galaxy bracelet is going to be mine. Ling Xiao laughed loudly. But suddenly, a violent roar cut off his laughter. The roar rolled out in waves, actually containing tangible magical power. It burst out from Fang Han's body. What is this? Ling Xiao shot to his feet, gasping in disbelief. What? How is this possible? Jialan also stood up. This can't be real. Let me look closer. Several elders also stood up. This is absolutely impossible. What on earth is this? Countless pairs of eyes stared fixedly at Fang Han, who was letting out that earth-shaking roar. At this moment, standing in the middle of the arena, Fang Han's robes billowed in the wind. His energy gate flew open, a wild torrent of energy burst out from his body, like a green dragon leaping from the abyss, a white tiger breaking out of its cauldron. Dragon roars and tiger howls echoed through the air. His entire body rose up and floated into the air. Powerful chi currents galloped like a herd of wild horses. Mighty waves of magical power rolled out endlessly, just like the tide of a great river. Without using any magical artifact, Fang Han stood floating in the air, broke his seal, circulated his magical power, and revealed to everyone that he had already stepped into the mystic ability realm. At this moment, he looked down at Xianxia from above, like an emperor ruling the world. Xianxia, you dare speak so brazenly just relying on 2 treasure artifacts? Offer me 3 strikes? Who do you think you are? Winning by relying on magical artifacts is no real skill. Today I'll show you just how huge the gap is between the 2 of us. I have already stepped into the mystic ability realm. Do you understand what the mystic ability realm is? 1 step to heaven. You will never reach this height in your entire life. Fang Han's long laughter shook the entire courtyard. After cultivating the Yinluo golden body and breaking through to the mystic ability realm, his magical power was already extraordinarily vigorous. After consuming the Star Dough Law condensation pill, he had improved even further. Even Jin Shirtai's magical power was no match for his now. Mystic ability realm. It really is the mystic ability realm. Is this really the mystic ability realm? That's right. That's definitely the aura of the mystic ability realm. He actually cultivated a magical ability. All the disciples were stunned speechless at this moment. Then an uproar erupted across the crowd. They could not believe what their own eyes were seeing.